Dan Pearson is a proud member of the River Falls community. Since the early 80s, Dan has showed River Falls and surrounding communities that smaller farms can be sustainable. Here's his story.
Hi, I'm Dan Pearson. I live on an organic dairy farm with my family, a wife and 3 kids. It's been in the family for 4 generations, about 110 years. I grew up on the dairy farm. I've loved agriculture. I went to college, actually, got an ag degree and taught high school for a year. But my heart really was in farming, especially dairy farming.
Like most farmers, Dan had reasons for farming the way he did.
We, as a family, we took over the farm from my parents. It was a totally conventional farm, milking about 40 cows, raising all the feed. As our kids were growing up, I was doing all the spraying, and I'd feel spray on the back of my neck when I was out spraying, and clean out the sprayer and have puddles near the milk house where the kids might be playing nearby, and think, you know, maybe there's a better way to do this. And plus, things were really tight when we started back in the early 80s, and we decided to cut expenses. So we started to see if we could raise corn without spraying and using some of the pesticides by using crop rotations, and we're fairly successful with it, so we just kind of kept down that road.
As part of our educational campaign, we wanted to document farmers that are being sustainable on land amounts that are anything but conventional by today's standards.
We own about 220 acres, and we farm about 350 acres.
Dan is a member of Organic Valley. Some of our questions we had for him were, what is Organic Valley? What's their mission? And what exactly do they do?
Okay. Well, first of all, we've been certified organic for about 15 years, and we joined Organic Valley to market our milk, because that's the main mission of Organic Valley, is to market organic products, specifically milk. And we really like Organic Valley because it's a cooperative, and we've been involved with cooperatives before. We found something very special about this cooperative, where the farmers really get together and set a price for their product, and then the co-op figures out how much to market it for, and then they sell it to the consumer for whatever they need in order to pay those farmers that price. So the farmers have the ability to set their own price, and so it's been a great time working with other farmers and you know, working together to get a better price and better income for farmers.
Dan has participated in the Use Value Assessment Program, a very valuable tool for young farmers.
The Use Value Assessment Program that the state put in place a number of years ago basically allows farmers to, if they keep the land in farming, to get tax breaks for that. And it helps keep the land in farming because it's more affordable to farm. But there's also a program we have in Troy that's just a little bit different than that, where we have transfer of development rights, where one farm can transfer their development rights to another farm that's developing. And it's not real complicated. It would take me a while to explain it, but I guess the gist of it is, if I want to keep farming here and somebody else wants to develop their farm, they can come and buy my development rights, which then gives me money to retire on, and then they can go add more houses to the farm where they're already developing it. And that way a young farmer or a family member, someone could farm this land because it'd be much more affordable. And we've seen some instances in the township where that's been able to work.
As part of our educational campaign, we wanted to know exactly how these programs would benefit young farmers.
Well, I think the state program is going to keep the land values down, not the land values, but keep the taxes down, which will help farmers keep farming it, which will make it much easier to transfer to the next generation. And the program in Troy is hopefully going to keep the land values down on the good farm land, as we're able to transfer the development rights off of it. Should take away a bunch of the value or give value to the farmer retiring, and then the young farmer coming forward hopefully will be able to afford that land, because they'll be at a cheaper or a lesser value without that, without the development rights still on them.
Due to the current situation of many retiring farmers, we asked Dan if he had any plans for his farm's future.
Well, first of all, I don't know if retire is in my vocabulary or not. I might just work until I drop dead. But actually, we're hoping to be able to keep the farm alive. We think because it's an organic farm, we think it has the opportunity to stay smaller and still be viable in the future. And so we have 3 children. None have decided to come home yet to the farm, and we have 3 grandkids that love the farm. So we may have to keep it up into our 70s to transfer the farm, but we're hoping at some point we can either help someone else get started or transition one of our children. Right now we actually have 2 families on this farm farming it, a full-time hired person that we brought in about 6 years ago, and so it's working well for us too, but we're looking at the possibility if one of our children want to come forward. So we keep looking at options. Would we sell off more development rights? Let me back up just a little bit. We did trade some of our development rights for 66 acres of land earlier, and that allowed us to expand a little bit, bring this other family in. If we were to want to bring any more in, we would have to do a similar thing of selling off some development rights. At this point, we don't have a plan to do that, but it does give us some options for the future. I think there's a lot of ways to start farming. You can either, the best would be if you had a family member or you know somebody farming that you come alongside and work with them for a while and work into farming. If you don't have farm experience, I think it's real important to go work with someone even if you don't eventually take that farm over. But I think there's the opportunity, and I'll go back to again, especially with organic farming, to be smaller and be able to make a living and not have to get bigger and bigger. And so I think there are going to be opportunities in the future. But I think the main thing is you need to find a mentor or find someone you can work with to be able to get that experience, and then hopefully find someone retiring that'll take you on.
Cool.